Colorado Growth Model, School and Group Level Growth Metrics. The Colorado Department of Education uses individual level student growth percentiles to calculate group level growth metrics. These group level metrics are aggregations of the individual student metrics, or SGPs. Group level metrics are calculated at the district, school, grade level, and disaggregated group level. That means we can look at overall school growth, or growth of a disaggregated group, such as English learners within the school. We can also look at the growth of a grade level within a district or within a school. The growth model also helps to answer several key questions at the group level. Keep in mind that the group could be all of the students within a district, all within a school, or all within a disaggregated group, like English language learners in the district or school. The questions that can be answered at this level are very similar to the individual questions, and they include: Number 1, what is or how much growth did the typical student in the group make in 1 year? Number 2, what could be? How did this group's growth compare to others, districts, schools, or disaggregated groups? And number 3, what should be? What percentage of students grew enough to reach or stay proficient within 3 years? To answer these questions, we look at summary or aggregate metrics. Aggregate metrics are calculated based on individual student metrics, SGPs or AGPs, for all of the students in districts, schools, grade levels, or in disaggregated groups. To figure out what is, we look at the median growth percentile for the group. To answer what could be, we compare median growth percentiles to other groups. To understand how individual growth data is summarized at the district, school, or group level, we first need to review a couple of summary statistics. The mean and the median are both ways to describe a group of numbers within a single middle number. The mean is the average. To get this, you add all of the values together, then divide by the number of values you had. This is a pretty familiar calculation for most people. The median is another way to create a central metric. To get the median, you organize your numbers from smallest to largest and pick out the middle one. That is the median value. We use medians when we talk about growth percentiles for a district, school, or other groups of students. Next, let's explore how individual student growth percentiles are combined to calculate a school level score. Consider 2 example schools, Mountain School and Valley School. Both of these schools have students that come from different academic peer groups. They have a mixture of low, average, and high achieving students. Notice that in this picture, each student has both a 4th grade scale score in the orange box and a growth percentile in the green box. If we take all of the students in each school, the same ones we just saw, and put them in order by their growth percentiles, this is what it looks like. Then, to calculate a school measure, we take the growth percentile for the middle student, or the median. Because Mountain School has an even number of students, we take the value halfway between the 2 middle students, which is 33. Valley School had an odd number of students, so we just use the middle value. For each school, the median growth percentile can be interpreted as the student growth percentile for the typical student at the school. What do you notice about these numbers? Valley School's median growth percentile is much higher. We would say that, regardless of where its students started, Valley School is associated with a much higher student growth than Mountain School. The typical student at Valley School is growing as fast or faster than 82% of their academic peers, or students with a similar score history. Disaggregated group growth is calculated the same way as school growth, except that only students in the disaggregated group are considered, such as English language learners. The metric that is provided is the median of the student growth percentiles for the group. So, for example, we would see the median student growth percentile for English language learners or students on an IEP in a school. Just like individual student growth percentiles, median growth percentiles are only provided for a content area, such as the median growth percentile for math. The growth model also helps us answer what should be at the school and group level. Two key metrics help to address what should be: the percent of students making catch-up growth and the percent of students making keep-up growth. We can also ask what should be at the group level, where a group of students could be a district, a school, a grade level within a school, or a disaggregated group, like students qualifying for free and reduced lunch. To aggregate the individual student catch-up and keep-up growth to a group level, we consider what percent of students who are eligible to make catch-up growth are making catch-up growth, and what percentage of students who are eligible to make keep-up growth are actually making keep-up growth. It is important to know the number of students who scored below proficient in the previous year, because this is the base from which the percent of students making catch-up growth is determined. It is important to know the number of students who scored at or above proficient in the previous year, because this is the base from which the percent of students making keep-up growth is determined. Let's first review the concept of catch-up growth. To be considered to be catching up, a student must score below proficient, either unsatisfactory or partially proficient, in the previous year. Then, to make catch-up growth, the student would need to demonstrate enough growth to reach the proficient performance level within the next 3 years or by the 10th grade, whichever comes first. The percentage of students making catch-up growth includes the number of students who made catch-up growth, in other words, demonstrated enough growth to be rated as proficient within the next 3 years or 10th grade, whichever comes first. That is divided by the number of students who scored unsatisfactory or partially proficient in the previous year. In other words, students eligible to make catch-up growth. Performance is improving if the numerator is increasing, the denominator is decreasing, and the percent is increasing or approaching 100. As a reminder, to be considered to be making keep-up growth, a student must score proficient or advanced. Then, to make keep-up growth, the student would need to demonstrate enough growth to maintain a proficient performance level within the next 3 years or by 10th grade, whichever comes first. The percent of students making keep-up growth includes the number of students who scored proficient or advanced in the previous year, in other words, students eligible to make keep-up growth, and divided by the number of students who made keep-up growth, in other words, demonstrated enough growth to maintain proficiency for the next 3 years or until 10th grade, whichever comes first. Performance is improving in this case if the numerator is increasing or the percent is increasing or approaching 100. CDE also provides information about the percent of students making move-up growth. This is the percent of students who scored proficient in the previous year and are on track to be advanced within the next 3 years or by 10th grade, whichever comes first. For this metric, performance is improving if the numerator is increasing and the percent is increasing. Does the sum of catch-up, keep-up, and move-up percentages add up to 100? They do not. Why not? The Colorado Department of Education uses this concept of catch-up growth in 2 different reports that are available to schools. In the School Growth Summary Report, schools will see the percent of students in the school or district making catch-up growth, or the number of students making catch-up growth divided by the number of students eligible to make catch-up growth. Growth is considered different in these 2 reports. This metric is provided for the school overall by grade level and by different disaggregated groups. In the School Performance Framework Report, CDE reports on the median growth percentile and the median adequate growth percentile for the students at the school that were eligible to make catch-up growth, or those students who scored below proficient in the prior year. CDE provides reports and views of school growth in 2 places. First, they provide graphs or bubble charts of this data available on www.schoolview.org. There are public and private versions of this data. The private versions include student identifiable data at the school level. Principals should receive a password to access the private versions of the graphs. CDE also provides a PDF version of a school growth summary report. They are available publicly on schoolview.org. We'll focus on this school growth summary report for use in improvement planning. School growth summary reports provide a wide variety of data about growth in math, reading, and writing. At the school level, these reports include the following metrics: median growth percentiles, the percent on track to catch up, the percent on track to keep up, and the percent on track to move up. Data for these metrics is provided for the school overall, by grade level, and by disaggregated groups for the last 3 years. These reports also include data for each metric that allows school-level performance to be compared to the complex and the state. Why would we want to look at these views of the growth model data? These school growth summary reports facilitate descriptions of growth across grade levels over time, more specific comparisons of growth across disaggregated groups, consideration of the catch-up and keep-up growth percentile metrics, and comparisons of school-level growth metrics to growth at the district and state levels. Here is an example of the first page of a school growth summary report. This page includes a description of the report and data for reading. The second page includes data for writing and math. The data in this report is organized by quadrant. The top quadrant of the report includes median growth percentiles. The numbers highlighted in green are 50 or higher. The second quadrant includes percentages of students making catch-up growth. The third quadrant includes percentage of students making keep-up growth. The final quadrant includes the percentage of students making move-up growth. There are a variety of uses of growth model data at the school level. These include focusing structured teacher planning time, learning community dialogue on student performance, identifying trends over time and prioritizing performance challenges, focusing efforts to identify root causes of performance challenges, focusing improvement strategies and action steps, setting performance targets, and included with the body of evidence to identify teacher needs and adjust school support of teachers.